The sea seems calm. Shops are open. Children are still at school. Trains run on time. And then, in a matter of seconds, everything changes. On March 11th, 2011, the earth cracks. Houses shake like leaves. The sea recedes, builds, and comes back like a mountain of water. Near the coast is a nuclear power plant. It's called Fukushima Daiichi. Inside, red lights flash one after another. Alarms, broken voices, numbers that don't add up. This isn't just the story of a plant. It's the story of those who ran toward the fire when everyone else was running away. It's the story of separated families, of emptied cities, of silences that last for years. It begins here, where metal bends, where water enters, where fear becomes reality. It's early afternoon in Japan. At 2:46 p.m., the earth opens. It's the strongest earthquake ever recorded in the country, magnitude 9, one of the most powerful in history. The tremor doesn't end in a few seconds. It lasts. It pushes. It's coming back. The sirens wail. The tsunami warning comes in on the phones. Everyone who can runs for. The hills. On the coast, the sea retreats, leaving the seabed exposed. This is the worst sign. Then the wave arrives. Not just one. There are several waves, spaced minutes apart, and some are higher than the previous ones. The water comes in like a wall. That doesn't stop at the banks. It surges over docks, walls, and elevated roads. It lifts cars like leaves, overturns trucks, and smashes through ground floors. Where the coasts or fjords, the wave channels itself and rises even higher. On the coastal plains, however, it races inland for miles, transforming fields and neighborhoods into a single, dark river. Ports are swept away. Fishing boats and merchant ships end up on docks or against buildings. Entire blocks move as one. Houses, roofs, pylons, lampposts, everything slipping and turning in the current. The water rushes back, dragging with it what is just torn away. Wood, metal, tanks, even bridges. Coastal airports are being flooded. Terminals and runways become lagoons. Columns of smoke rise from some factories. The water has moved, tanks and started fires. There's a constant noise, sirens, alarms, glass, the roar of water. At the Fukushima Daiichi plant, the reactors shut down automatically, the first barrier that works. But a deactivated reactor continues to heat. Residual heat must be removed with pumps and continuous power. Power lines from the grid fall. Emergency diesel generators start up and keep the pumps running. They work, but the tsunami is higher than projected. The coastal defenses have been designed based on severe scenarios drawn from historical data, and that day it exceeds them. The water exceeds the safety levels, floods the basements, reaches generators and switchboards. The plant plunges into darkness. Only batteries with limited autonomy remain. The condition, no one wants to read on the monitors. Total loss of power, a station blackout. Without power, the cooling stops and the heart of the reactors remains hot. Too hot. Inside the plant, technicians rush between valves and darkened panels. The procedure is clear. Cool, ventilate, lower the pressure. But without power, every step becomes slower and more risky. The steam in the circuit rises. The water boils. Burns, the level drops. If the fuel is left uncovered, it overheats. The protective sheets react with the hot steam and produce hydrogen. Hydrogen is invisible, light, and explosive. The containment rooms are built to withstand the heat, but they are not invincible. The pressure, pressing on the walls, becomes a silent enemy. Venting is necessary. Gas must be released before something gives way. Outside, the night brings cold and fear. The roads are cut off. Telephones work intermittently. People crowd into evacuation centers. Schools become shelters. Sports halls become dormitories. Inside the plant, however, some men and women decide not to leave. They know that the more time passes, the greater the risk. They know that the fate of entire communities is being played out in those rooms. They have suits, masks, ticking meters. They also have something that cannot be measured: the decision not to retreat. They try with batteries. They try with trucks and hand-pulled cables. They try with water. Sea, the last resort. Salt water ruins everything, but it can save something more important: the lives of those around it. Underscore, 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 underscore. The morning brings with it a roar. An external structure collapses. A wave of air rushes upward. A column of clear smoke rises. The hydrogen that has found a spark. March 12th in the afternoon. The building of Reactor 1. The panels above blow away. The roof opens like a lid. The images travel around the country. An explosion isn't just a sound. It's a message. It says that the pressure has won, that the gases have found the wrong path. That control is breaking. Inside the plant, they're not fighting against the flame of the explosion, but against the heat that continues to escape from the fuel. The explosion has torn the shell of the building. It hasn't extinguished the core. The heart remains boiling and demands water. Ventilation is being used to release pressure and hydrogen. Seawater is being injected along the fire lines to cover the fuel. Outside, teams are laying kilometers of cables to restore power to the pumps. Mobile pumps are dragged wherever they can, even by hand. Every open valve is a balance between risk and necessity. Then comes March 14th mid-morning. A flash, a louder roar. The Reactor 3 building explodes. The cloud darkens, rising higher. The hydrogen has struck again. Debris rains down on the courtyards. Radios shout numbers and positions. Shifts are shortened to limit doses. Time stretches like a thread. Seawater continues to be pumped. Every path to cooling is sought. Levels are measured. The metal is listened to. The breathing of the systems is read. During the night between March 14th and March 15th, Reactor 2 doesn't explode like the others, but a dull thud shakes the bowels of the plant. The suppression chamber suffers serious damage. The pressure drops. The releases increase. Another boundary crossed. At dawn on March 15th, another wound opens up above. Reactor 4's building. The reactor was shut down, but the hydrogen that had arrived through hidden passages ignited. The upper walls were torn. Flames could be seen in the fuel pool area. The entire plant seemed to be holding its breath. The crews inside the plant were counted. Some were injured. Others returned to field with red eyes and burning throats. They moved in short shifts, speaking to each other with quick glances. They knew how to read the numbers on the dosimeters. They knew what they meant. All around, the evacuation was spreading. Buses, ambulances, cars, people with light suitcases and photographs in their pockets. Many left their animals behind. Many left their homes unlocked. Many thought they'd return in a few days. For some, that wasn't the case. In the gyms transformed into shelters. All the blankets were the same. Families sat on the floor, lined up. Some elderly people stared into space. Children slept in their jackets. On a table, there were biscuits, water, and rice. Volunteers passed by and smiled. The phones rang unanswered. The networks were jammed. Local radio stations become the only source of transmission. Announcements repeat schedules, names, and directions to medical centers. On the roads, patrol stop cars and take measurements. The numbers on the screen decide who can go, who must wash, who must change clothes. Water flows over tires and fenders. Black bags fill with clothes and objects from a normal life until the day before. In nearby villages, gates remain open. Lights go out. Shutters remain half closed. Calendars stop. At that day, the wind moves curtains. Teams arrive in white overalls. They measure land, water, walls, gardens. They mark with paint. They pull down ribbons and signs. The map of the territory changes. In a matter of hours, you can stay on one side. You can on the other. The invisible line, but it decides everything. Inside the plant, the word home no longer exists. There are shifts, masks, dose tables. Break means water and silence. Solutions never attempted on this scale are being tried. Energy is brought in with extremely long cables. Pumps are replaced in extreme conditions. We descend where the water is deep and dark. We move mud. We listen to the noise of the fans we hope they hold. We evaluate every step. Every time a line opens and some gas can escape, any cooling that's too rapid can cause something to crack. A fragile balance between heat, pressure, and time. Outside, engineers work on graphs and models. Inside, technicians touch. Vibrating pipes. The body understands when something is wrong before the mind does. Metal sounds different under stress. The air smells different when the heat exceeds the threshold. There are words no one says out of superstition or respect, but everyone knows that it doesn't take much to lose control again. Underscore. The sea off the coast has changed. The currents carry things away and bring them back. Fishermen look at the water as if they were looking at a wounded friend. Nets remain on land. Ports sound empty. On land, fields and gardens are measured. Some areas are cleaned layer by layer. The soil is removed, bagged and carried away. It's slow and tiring work. It takes patience. It takes perseverance. In the power plant, the water used for cooling cannot disappear into thin air. It is collected, filtered, and stored. Tanks grow like a new metal city. Each tank is a promise and a problem. It contains today to protect tomorrow, but it requires space, control, difficult decisions. Teams build increasingly complex filtration systems. They want to remove as much as possible from that water. They want to give back to the sea something the sea can accept. It's a journey of years, not days. Great lessons often arise from pain. The first is simple and terrible. Nature can surpass our calculations. Barriers, quotas, safety measures must look further than we think likely. The second is that emergencies do not forgive. Slowness. We need clear plans, real exercises, communications that reach everyone, and quickly. Trust is built before the disaster, not after. The third is that people make the difference. There were men and women who worked beyond fear. They made difficult choices to gain precious minutes. Without them, the story would be even darker. The fourth is that a territory can be reborn, but rebirth requires truth, time, and listening. Those who had to leave have the right to know, to return when it's safe, to not be forgotten. Years later, some streets reopen. Some schools can hear children's voices again. Some stations raise their shutters. Trains pass again, slowly, and then a little faster. Houses are cleaned. Shops are tidied up. Events are organized. Memorial museums are opened. Children are told what happened and why it must never happen again. The return is made of simple, repeated gestures. Checks, maintenance, manuals rewritten, barriers raised, exercises that become habit. Always tell the truth to those who live nearby, so that mistakes are not paid twice. There is no triumph. There is responsibility. The story ends here. From tomorrow onwards, we measure ourselves. We protect ourselves. We learn. Always. If the story touched you, subscribe to the channel. Here we transform memory into voice and images. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.